A smile is the first thing that you notice when you meet someone, and to be able to help people by giving them beautiful smiles is just very rewarding.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Shane So podcast. Today, I'm with the founder of the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry, one of the top cosmetic dentists in the world. She's known for creating world-class smiles with an artistic touch and delivering luxurious spa-like experiences that bring in clients from all over the world. Her work has been featured on ABC, Extreme Makeover, CNN, and much more. With over 35 years of experience in the field, it's an honor to welcome Dr. King.
Thank you, Shane.
Hey, thank you for being here.
It's my honor.
Yeah, so I want to start off by saying how I first came across you guys. My brother was wanting to get veneers. He had kind of like a genetic issue with his teeth, so it was really stained and kind of weak. Mm-hmm. And we were like, we want to find the best place to go in the United States. Mm-hmm. So we were looking in Beverly Hills, New York, and Minnesota. We were just looking at all these places, and then lo and behold, Atlanta, Georgia, right in our backyard. We found you guys, and it was an amazing experience.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your practice.
Well, it's the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry, and we're the only practice in the world that has 4 accredited cosmetic dentists under one roof.
Wow.
So it's what we do every day, and we're really good at it. And it's just so rewarding because a smile is the first thing that you notice when you meet someone, and to be able to help people by giving them beautiful smiles is just very rewarding.
Oh, 100%. And then I also saw when we looked at your studio, y'all have done a lot of celebrities too. So you're not doing just, well, everyone's normal, I guess, but like you also do the top celebrities.
Yeah, we were very honored for that. And, you know, it's like they could go anywhere in the world and they come to see us, which we're very proud of. But we treat all of our patients like they're celebrities.
Wow. So you've been in this for 35 years. I mean, did you start somewhere else, or have you always been here in Atlanta? How did that go?
I've always been in Atlanta. I came to Atlanta right when I graduated from dental school, and I worked for another dentist for a few years, and then I went out on my own. And at that point, I only had about 100 patients. So there were 8-hour days where I didn't see a single patient. But, you know, you get out and you meet people, and everyone needs a dentist. So
100%.
I just came from there.
Yeah. So, but what people don't see is too, because you can work as a dentist, but whenever you start your own practice, you're an entrepreneur.
That's right.
So I was wanting to talk about some of the challenges, like how did you feel when you first started? Was you afraid? And then what kind of challenges did you face when you first got on your own?
Well, yeah, I was very afraid because, you know, I was just a little girl from Tennessee with a really thick Southern accent, which it's kind of faded over the years. But I mean, I was really Southern, and I didn't have business background. I was, you know, when you're going through dental school, it's all health and science classes. And so here I am, a dentist, and I didn't even know what overhead was or anything like that. And luckily, you can learn over the years. I learned from mentors, and Anthony Robbins was one of my mentors.
Oh, wow.
You know, he had this whole practice management called Fortune Management. So he took his philosophies that you've probably read his books and listened to his audio cassettes, but I kind of tied all that together and then just kind of learned as I went. Yeah.
So one thing is I'm in the real estate business. I don't know anything about dentistry, but it took me 5 years to even get started because I was just afraid. And if I would have had a mentor, I would have, got over fear. I would have had a little bit more of a roadmap. How important do you think mentors are now, even for the newer generation trying to get into business?
Oh, I think they're irreplaceable. My first mentor, he told me that it's so much easier to find someone that is doing what you aspire to do and emulate them than to just create the wheel from scratch. So I always kept that in mind, and I've always tried to have mentors in my life and coaches and that kind of thing.
100%. And also, we was just at your building, and you already said the story earlier, but I want you to repeat it. Like you said that there were 2 farmhouses and y'all built it to be more homey. So I'll let you explain.
Yeah, we actually had a practice for 10 years that was just a block south of where we currently are. And it's so funny because when I moved in there, it was a 2,600 square foot office. And I tried to only take half of it because, like, how in the world would I even need 2,600 square feet? And luckily that didn't work out because at the end of that 10-year lease, we were busting at the seams.
Oh,
and
I can
so
imagine.
we looked, and it's interesting because you're in real estate, but we were looking, should we rent or should we build? And we decided that the best thing to do was to build. And I'm so glad that we did. And we found the property. It had 2 farmhouses on it. And we just went and knocked on the door, like, as you know, if you're ever wanting to sell, we would be interested. And it turned out it was the great aunt of one of my patients.
Wow.
So it could not have gone smoother. He let me go through the whole design and zoning process before I even had to close on the property. It was just meant to be.
Oh, yeah. And one thing about it is, like I said, someone messing with your teeth. I never liked going to the dentist when I was a kid. And I'll tell you one of the stories later. But Joseph, my brother, you know, because his teeth were all really weak, he said, man, I'm nervous, you know.
Yeah.
We went in and everyone was, not just the building was nice, it was very nice and it is very homey, but the team is just amazing.
Yeah.
And it seems like y'all go above and beyond to make sure everyone's comfortable, have a good customer experience. They call us by name always.
Yes.
I always thought that was very impressive.
Yeah, it's all by design because, I mean, I can be an excellent dentist, but if my team doesn't have the customer service or the professionalism or the talent, then the patient is not going to get the same experience. And I'm really proud of my team. I think I have the best team in the world.
Oh, they're spectacular. And so how do you go about training them or onboarding a new team? Let's just say someone new right now.
Well, you know, it is a process and a journey, and it helps when you already have a team of professionals that are striving to be excellent, because you're only as good as the lowest person on the totem pole. Like, you know, you can have one bad apple and it can bring your whole team down. So it's really important that you're always keeping everyone at a high level. But we have morning opportunity meetings every morning before we start our day. So we can go over the schedule and what particular patients need and how our team can take great care of our patients. And then we also have a 1-hour meeting every week where we're going over new skills and better ways to have customer service, and we go over failures too, like what can we learn from things that didn't go as well as we'd like. But it's just a constant, you know, you can't assume you've made it and you can just start coasting, because you only coast downhill. So
that's fine.
You have to either be improving or you're declining. There's no in the middle.
Oh, 100. I always say a good investor, a good entrepreneur is always learning. You know, you always want to get better. You can build the same like Honda Civic from the year 2000, but you have to modernize it every year to make it still sell, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So one other thing too, so just to be real casual about it, I was like, man, my brother's sitting in here, he's getting checked out. Everyone's making him feel comfortable. And then they come and they put a hot blanket on him. They're giving him a foot massage, a hand massage, and all of that stuff too. So like, what do you feel like? I guess that'd be kind of like a luxurious service, like a salon feel. You added like a salon feel to it. What other kind of amenities or extras do you usually provide for your clients?
Well, you know, Shane, I always hated when people would say, I hate going to the dentist. So it was by design. We brainstormed, like, what are things we can do to make the entire experience pleasant and pampering? And we're the only practice that I know of that has 2 full-time massage therapists that give complimentary massages while you're getting the work done. And then we have the noise-canceling headphones, because that's usually one of the things that people don't like, you know, about the dentist is the sound. So, you know, we just wanted to create an environment where people wanted to come to the dentist, and we wanted them to feel comfortable and like they were getting the best that they could. Yeah,
they got that great treatment, right? So as far as like growth, I know y'all do a little bit of marketing. I know you said most of yours comes from word of mouth because of the experience, right? So is there a certain way that you would say, like, do you like push like a referral program, or is it just honestly because they enjoy the experience?
Well, yeah, no, we get a lot of referrals just because they had a great experience and get great results. But we do marketing, because I just look at it like it's getting the word out that you're good at what you're doing. So we have focused on social media and Instagram and that kind of thing too. But there's nothing better than a happy patient that refers their family and friends.
100%. One other thing is how knowledgeable, because you said there's 4 license, like I forget what you said.
Yeah, we're the only practice in the world that has 4 accredited cosmetic dentists.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very rigorous process to get that credential, and you have to be a really good dentist, cosmetic dentist, to be able to get that credential.
That's amazing. When we went in there, because we'd watched YouTube videos, like, oh, they're going to file it down like this for veneers, like they're going to make it like a little pyramid and all that stuff. Then we found out that they came and explained so well that that's not how they do it. It's actually, and it wasn't even that bad. Joseph, I was worried whenever they had, I guess, like prepped the teeth. I was like, I'm going to come and see little nubs, but it wasn't like I couldn't even tell they had done anything.
Yeah,
Is that
and
a
that's
common
why it's
misconception?
important to go to someone that's really has good credentials, because when we approach a smile design, we want to, of course, take out all the old dentistry, but then we want to conserve as much of your natural tooth structure as possible. And there are even some designs where we don't have to touch your teeth at all. So, but when you're coming from that aspect of being conservative and saving a person's regular teeth, that you're just going to get a better result long term.
Yeah, I was watching stuff where some people charge like $1,000 to do your teeth, and then they're like, they mess up the teeth really bad. Have y'all had some of them patients come in? You'll have to fix that.
Yeah, we've had patients that unfortunately went somewhere else first, and then they ended up coming to us. But you know, it would have been nice if they'd come to us first, but we will help them anyway.
Yeah. So I know that you've been on some TV shows.
Yes.
And there's CNN, ABC, Extreme Makers, and there's a few other ones. What other shows have you done?
Well, I did do Extreme Makeover. That was a lot of fun. I had to fly out to Beverly Hills and do my 2 patients. And so that was an experience, a good story. I actually had to fly to San Diego to get fingerprinted to get my California license. So I flew there, got fingerprinted, went back to the airport all in one day just to make that happen. But yeah, I've been on Fox and Friends and CNN and Entertainment Tonight and The Doctors. And, you know, again, I just look at it as a way to get the word out of the dentistry that I'm able to do. Yeah.
So do you do, I heard that you also do some conferences, like teaching other dentists how to better their practice, or just technical, or a little bit of both?
Well, I do teach the cosmetic dentistry part. I actually gave 2 lectures to the dental school in Augusta, Georgia just recently. And then I spoke for a cosmetic dentistry society. But I also actually, and it's really kind of more my passion, is to share the business and the entrepreneurial side of dentistry, because and especially this was our slogan during COVID, is that we have to make all of our decisions based on what's best for the patient, our team, and the business, because you can't take care of your patients or your team if your business is not healthy.
That's right. It's got to be a win-win-win, like you said earlier. Yeah. So where do you believe that y'all are trying to do? Do you have any goals for like 5 years, or y'all want to expand one day, or like what other goals do y'all have?
Well, you know, I think there's things to consider when you expand too much, because it's so important to keep that level of excellence. And I like the size that we're at now. Yeah. So we're not really, a great operation. Yeah, we do. Now we probably will bring in a younger dentist and start training them. You know, I'm getting up there. Dr. Cooper's, he just had his 65th birthday yesterday. I'm not telling you what birthday I'm having tomorrow.
At least 30, I know.
Yeah, that's it right there. But, you know, because we want to continue the legacy. Yeah. We're proud of what we've built and how well we take care of patients. So we'll be bringing someone in, not right out of school, but someone that can start learning what we do.
And you told me a really great story. So it's kind of like this. If you start expanding, you're just trying to make it convenient for people to just come down the road. But if you do great excellence, then people will come to you. And you told me a really good story, and I want to have you repeat it again. but there's a reason you created a vision for your practice.
Right.
Can you tell us where that
Well,
was
it's my
birthed from?
pivot story. It really is. I was about 5 or 6 years into my practice, and the funny thing is, it was back when I would even answer the office phones, and so I answered a phone call, and it was one of my patients, and she was calling to request her records, to transfer her records to another dentist because she had moved across town, and I was no longer convenient, and I was heartbroken. I mean, across town is 30 minutes. Like, I wasn't even worth a 30-minute drive. And, I realized, like, and I vowed at that moment, I said, someday I'm going to create a practice where patients will not only drive across town, but that they'll fly in from all over the world.
That's amazing.
We've accomplished that. So, but that was a very pivotal moment in my career.
No, I think that's amazing. So where can everyone find you online?
Well, the practice is the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry. Our Instagram is ACCD Smiles. And our phone number is 404-847-9711, although most people don't even use the phones anymore.
Yeah, they're just all on social media.
Exactly.
Actually, I'll ask you two more questions then. So where have you seen, like, is it amazing what social media has done and how it's changed and get out there?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I'm still a student of that. Now, of course, I hired some younger people that know what they're doing in the whole social media realm. But again, I just look at it as getting the word out that we're good at what we do, and we hope that you come to see us.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for being on the podcast.
It's my pleasure.
And I'm going to probably come out and get my veneers pretty soon too. So we'll have to film that. That'll be real fun. But thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Shane. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.